Hello and welcome back to Daily Planning for Bitcoin and Gold. Today is the 12th of February 2026. We recap for yesterday. We didn't get any reaction, so our magic line for weekly VWAP was way off for a bit. Actually sad, but that's okay. Gonna remove it. But our deduction earlier was spot on. If you don't remember, I stated before, obviously, that if by any chance there are some big volume, you want to see a reaction on the weekly VWAP, and those kind of reaction usually form some kind of long candle with big volumes, which we see here. It was a momentum. But the sad part is it didn't touch the weekly VWAP, so no trade on the short part. Unfortunate, but that's okay. But if you manage to get the longs, it touched the long, albeit for bit, then it jumps immediately. So we see that there's a lots of selling here. It gaining momentum, gaining volume in size, and then afterwards it flips. So in this particular case, because there's no big liquidation or big volume compared to previous ones, expecting at least more than this, what you can see is if you're using a VWAP like me, it's safe to say is that since higher time frame trend is also is on momentum down, you could take a safely precaution and take the trade with higher invalidations. For instance, you could just confirm to entry after it went back into the VWAP area. Like so, for instance, you could just immediately try to entry because it went for the first time, rejected, and then go for the second time. Validation on the low, previous low, and then what you want to see, you want to take at least near the previous daily view up, and you still get a 1.18R. Okay, it's still good actually. But that's about it. Okay, what do you want to see here? Like we stated before, previously we are still on the momentum down, so I'm still aiming for the weekly view up here. Obviously, if this were to happen, it might be due to news, so unless it went for grinding for this particular price currently, it grinds and then taking out this and then went back. I don't see any reason for price to went that far, but it might due to CPI tomorrow. So we'll just see. Oops. Delete. Okay. If this happens due to CPI, I want to see that. CPI. Oops. Let's just make a text. CPI high. So I'm only taking if this was made due to CPI news event. Other than that, I'm gonna skip it and my focus will be on this particular VA. So we're back into the 2024 VA. Target is still the same. And also, since we only touch it once, I want to see another reaction, but now it's weaker because it already swept once. I want to see another knife catching, actually, here. So don't expect any kind of crazy pullback like this. This is only due to news. If I remember, it was NFP. So for particular, we on this to be reswept again, expecting just small time of pullbacks. Okay, so gold it was a pretty clean also. Sadly I didn't take it. I was taking care of my cat. If you're taking it, good for you. View up was a bit spot on, but that's okay. What I mean is, I remember telling you, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, if you were approached by the area and then it was approached pretty strong, like this, it was a pretty strong momentum. You don't want to bid immediately. You want to see it fails and then went back into your POIs in the inverse and then retest. That's for me the ideal part, because by doing that you can just bid on the retest, and actually it was a bit almost touch the range again, but either you can do this or you can perform this. This particularly taking out the previous highs, and then because we are still on the long world favor, then you might want to see we manage our position accordingly. Then your target previously will be on the daily VWAP. You still get the 3R. Or if you are ambitious and you want to have a rotation further, you want to aim for your weekly VWAP. And then you go. You get yourself a 6R. Okay. And for the weekly VWAP as well, since it was a strong big wicks, most of the time it's gonna get filled about 50% at the very least. Obviously not 50% today like previously, but at least it gets immediately resolved again. And also, so that's your cues for your longs actually. Yellow will be set here on if you are very expecting a pretty tight invalidation, be the previous low, which also reswept the weekly view up, or if you are cautious, you could just aim for the previous low, targeting on the another rotation on the view up. And there you have it. You got yourself a 6R if you are paying attention, or 3R if you are very, very careful, and you got yourself a 1.28. So yesterday you should get probably a 4R. Or if you're ambitious, you got yourself a 3R and a 6.5R. So 9.5R on the 2 trades alone. Okay? But that's about it. It's okay. Past trades, past opportunities. We're gonna make another POI. Another trade. Let's see for the higher time frame for bit. Still grinded. And also now we pretty much still holdings way above weekly view up. Same case with oops, my bad. Same case with previously like this part. So if I were to make a plan, we're still in favor for long. Going back to lower time frame again. Then my target is pretty clear. You want to see a reaction on the view up here. must probably gonna be a relatively flat VWAP. Want to see something like this. If it touch VWAP, you want to see a quick reaction. But if it went further and makes a compression here, so we're gonna extend this. If it were to make a compression, first of all, you want to see something like this, breakout, then retest, and then stays. If this were to happen, then your target will be this particular highs, which until this day, these are very, very important POI. This is our high time frame. This is our high time frame area. Yep. This is like the past weekly VWAP, but it's also home to the for our fair value gap. For me, this is a good POI for a reaction to occur. We might wanna skip this because it already obsolete, if I were made to say, but still it's gonna make another reaction for me, I believe. So if that kind of reaction occur, then your target will be on these two areas, either this orange line or this POI. Okay, so my target will stay on longs. Is this orange line on the lows still doesn't have any reactions, and I don't believe we're gonna touch that soon. So yeah, that's the trade plan for gold, and that's it for today. I hope you enjoy it and see you tomorrow.